Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Opportunity Scholarship Info session, where we're going to talk about the scholarship program, and we're also going to give you some tips and information about how you can help us get the word out and how you can help your students apply for the Dream.Us scholarship. So we are going to wait just a minute to allow for folks who are just finding the link or received a little notification that it is time for them to join this presentation. But before we start, I wanted to make sure that I introduce myself. My name is Gabby, and I work with the Dream.Us, and what I do with the Dream.Us is that I work on the communications, advocacy, and development of the work. And so a lot of what I get to do during this time is help promote the scholarship and do some of these webinars so that we can get a big, robust pool of people. And with me is also my colleague, Elena Solorio. And Elena works with us specifically on the scholarship programs. Yesterday we did a presentation for our national scholarship, and she described this as her baby. So she, really takes care of this piece, and you're gonna get to hear from her, and she's gonna get to introduce herself just in a bit. But like I said, we'll wait a few seconds. Thank you for joining us. And as we wait and allow other folks to join us, I hope that you have had a chance to go through our website, TheDream.Us. And when you go to TheDream.Us, you can actually navigate and see all these other resources that we have on our website, information about our scholars. We have a report that we just released in October. And if you want, you can take a look at that. This report is really great and important for many of the people that work with this population of folks, because this report actually shares not just what is happening with the immigrant youth community and their feelings, and it's called In Their Own Words, but it also has really great recommendations for all types of people, from community members all the way up to the president, on what we think we should be doing to support and help these students. So we have a good group of contingency of folks, so we're going to get started now. And like I said, this presentation is to talk about one of our two programs, two scholarships that we have. Yesterday, we did the National Scholarship presentation, and today we're going to focus on the opportunity. So to start, first, I want to tell you a little bit about us. And so the Dream.Us is the largest college access and success program for dreamers in the nation. We have given scholarships to over 4,000 students, and currently right now we have over 3,000 students in 15 states and DC, attending 70 partner colleges. And that's the combination between our national and opportunity scholarship. And our goal overall is to give scholarships to over 6,000 students and have 4,500 graduates. And we're getting really close to that goal. We actually had over 300 students graduating this last spring, and we actually are going to have a good cohort of about 100 students graduating this fall. So to start, we just wanted to get a little sense of who are the people that are in this webinar and what is your knowledge, so that we know if we need to go deep or not. And the first question is, do you know what DACA is? So you can take a quick second to say, yes, I've heard of it, but don't know what it is, and I don't know. So we'll give you a few seconds to choose. And here are the results. So 100% of you know what DACA is. That's great. All right, let's go on to the next poll. And what would you say? How many undocumented students do you serve? So none at this moment, or you don't know if you have any undocumented students. 1 through 9, 10 to 49, 50 to 100, or over 100. All right, some of you, actually all of you work with undocumented students. Some of you work with 1 to 9, 10 to 49, and the bulk of you are working from 50 to 100 students. So that means that we're going to have a lot of applicants coming from all of you. All right, so since most of you know what DACA is, we're just going to go briefly over this. And as you know, DACA is a program that was implemented in 2012 on June 15, 2012 by President Barack Obama. And during that time, the person needed to be under the age of 31 in order to be eligible. So there's a couple of other eligibility criterias. And one of the things that's really important for you to know is that our scholarship is open not just to people that currently have DACA, but people who would be eligible for DACA, but for either because they didn't have the resources or because they weren't the age of 15 when the DACA program started, and now they're 18 and they never got around to apply for it, or because they were afraid or they never knew about this program, but they fit this criteria, they are eligible to apply for a scholarship. The same goes for people with TPS. If you have TPS, and this is the criteria for TPS, and came to the United States before the age of 16, you are eligible to apply to our scholarship as well. All right, so who are dreamers? So for purposes of our scholarship and the way we think about dreamers is we think about dreamers as young undocumented immigrants who came to this country at a very young age. Some of them have attended elementary schools, middle schools, or high schools. And there's a researcher and a professor at Harvard University that did a research that says that most dreamers came at around the age of 6. So we know that dreamers are young people that have come as little kids, and they are part of our community. Some of them are leaders in our schools, in our community. They go to our churches. And more importantly, they know and they feel that this country is their home. But not all is good and peachy with dreamers. As we know, the life of an undocumented person and an immigrant person here in the United States tends to be very difficult. And for undocumented students in particular, now more than ever, they go through a lot of fear. And so they have fear of deportation, not just for themselves, but for their family. We know that they encounter many barriers when they're trying to go to college. For example, they're not eligible for federal financial aid. They have limited state or in-state institutional aid. And this is very important for the people in the Opportunity Scholars. There are states that they charge the students out-of-state tuition, and there are states that go as far as barring them from being able to go to the state school. So places like Georgia do that, and even if the dreamer and the student wanted to pay the international student fee or take a class at a time, they are barred altogether from going to those state schools. They're also not eligible for the Affordable Care Act. So healthcare is usually an issue with this population, that they don't have access to it. In some states, being able to get some licenses for some of the careers is also not available for them. And without DACA, or TPS or a work authorization, it's very hard for them to be able to get work, except for as independent contractors. And it's also the same for people that don't have DACA, TPS, or work permit. In most states, they cannot drive. So that doesn't exclude states like Washington State and California, where people who are undocumented are eligible for driver's licenses. So DACA opened many doors, and it was such a ray of hope for this community. A lot of young people, close to 800,000 young people applied for DACA, and they were eligible to get a work permit. Some of them for the first time get a social security card, get a driver's license, and many of them used this opportunity to go back to school or go to school. Unfortunately, that door may soon be closing, and so DACA and work permits, though our people can currently renew them, we know that the face of DACA and the lives of these young people is in the hands of different courts and Congress. So even though no new applications are being accepted, people who have DACA currently right now can renew. So let's take a little quick poll to test your knowledge. So Dreamers, should they renew their DACA as soon as they're able to do so? Should they not renew their DACA because the government will get their info? Or should Dreamers who do not have DACA apply immediately? What would be the correct answer on this? And this is also just to test your knowledge, but to see if there's anything specific we need to get into. All right, so the answers are 100% should renew DACA as soon as they're able to do so. Yes, that is correct. So a lot of the advocacy organizations, including lawyers, AILA, etc., are recommending that people who can renew between the allotted time, and usually it's about 6 months. Some are actually saying if you are out a year, you should go ahead and submit your DACA renewal. We also know it's very expensive. It's about $495 to submit that application. And on the DreamUS website, we've also put this information out on Facebook. We've collected the organizations that are supporting and helping people pay that DACA fee. There are still some out there that are doing it. Some in New York, for example, do this as interest-free loans. But there are a few organizations that are doing it. So let your students know if they do have DACA to make sure that they renew, and that they make sure that they reach out for help in case that they need to get some of those funds to do that. All right, so I am going to be turning it over to my colleague, Elena, and she's going to talk to you more about our scholarship program.
All right. Thank you, Gabby. Welcome, everyone. As Gabby had mentioned earlier, I am Elena Solorio, and I am Senior Program Manager here at TheDream.Us, and the scholarship programs really are my babies. So I was going to kind of walk you through our Opportunity Scholarship, just to give you the background on it so that you have the information that you can then provide to your students so that they can apply. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we do have 5 partner colleges that we work with for our Opportunity Scholarship. And the reason we have these 5 schools is the Opportunity Scholarship is for those students who lived in locked out states. So like Gabby mentioned, the state of Georgia, where students are completely barred from going. So these 5 schools, Delaware State University, Western Oregon University, Trinity Washington University, Christian Brothers University, and Eastern Connecticut State University, will all take our scholars. So the scholars do move away from home to attend these schools. Yeah. Go ahead and move on to the next slide. So with our partner colleges, we work with them to provide access to affordable college education for these students, and it helps them with any challenges they're facing, to address barriers, and our goal is honestly a completion rate with these students of 75%. And today we are actually well above that percentage rate. Our first year persistence rate with the students is a 98%, which is the same for our overall persistence right now. And these students have an average GPA of 3.38, so they are doing amazingly in these schools. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our scholar community. So we have a community of scholars, and we send scholars to these institutions in cohorts. We want to make sure that they have it's not just 1 or 2 that we're sending to these schools so that they kind of get lost in the shuffle. We work to send, groups of them at a time, so they have that base. They have friends that they can relate to, and then the schools will also, work with them. They have huge support groups for them. Motivate and inform each other. And then we also provide a Facebook community for these scholars. It is a closed group. They're provided a code once they've been awarded the scholarship so that they can join. And it's just a way for these students to be able to even talk with other students at some of the other schools. If they've got questions coming up, whether it be about life or school or anything like that, it's a safe place for them to be able to correspond with each other. And so now getting into the scholarship program. So the way the program works is we have the states that are listed here on the slide. Those are the locked out states. So as long as a student lives in and has graduated from high school in one of those states, they are eligible to apply for the scholarship. And the scholarship is up to $80,000 for the bachelor's degree. It's $20,000 per year. And that helps to cover tuition costs, their fees, and on-campus housing and meals. And again, the states that they would end up moving to would be Connecticut, DC, Delaware, Oregon, or Tennessee. Let's go ahead and head to the next slide there. And all right, so the eligibility criteria for this program. We are looking for high school graduates who have a GPA of 2.8 or greater. And this is a little different from our national scholarship program. For our national scholarship program, the GPA is a little bit lower for those students applying for that one. And we've actually increased the GPA here because we want to make sure that these students are college ready. With the fact that they're moving away from home, you know, they're going to be in a new state, you know, they don't know anyone there 9 times out of 10. So we just want to make sure that they're set up for success. They have to have taken the SAT or the ACT. Those test scores do have to be provided in the application. They can have attended a community college. So if they're doing a dual enrollment program while they're in a high school, or if somebody has already graduated high school and has only been taking a couple of classes here or there at a community college, they are still eligible to apply. However, if any of the applicants have attended a 4-year university, they are ineligible. So this is, we're strictly looking for those who have had a little bit of community college experience or are coming straight out of high school. They have to, again, as I stated just a little bit ago, they must live in and have graduated from high school in one of the locked out states. And we do have a list of those states, you know, on the application. And then they will also let us know whether they currently hold DACA or TPS status, or they'll let us know if they actually qualify for DACA based on the DACA eligibility criteria and they just did not have the opportunity to apply for it. And then they must enroll in one of our partner colleges in the fall of 2019. Yeah, next slide. All right, and so the application is currently open. It's been open for just over a month now. It opened on November 1st. It will close on January 31st, so a little under 2 months now to get it completed. And then in late March is when we will actually begin notifying the recipients that they've been selected. Right, and just to give a quick overview of the application, we will ask for some basic applicant data. So we'll ask their demographics. They do not provide an address, they just let us know what city or what state and zip code they are from. They'll also let us know what their DACA, TPS, or DACA eligibility criteria that they have. And then from there, they'll move on to the academic section. In the academic section, they will do a couple of things. So the way this application works, it actually works as not only their scholarship application, but it also acts as the application to the school that they would like to attend. So we ask them to select their top 2 choices. We give them the links to the schools on the application, and so they're able to research it, you know, make sure that the school has, you know, their major, that it looks like it's a good fit for them culturally, academically, and all of that. And so they do get to select their top 2 choices, and both schools will review their application. They will also let us know what their high school and community college information is, what their test scores were. Then from there, they're going to move on to the financial section. In the financial section, they're going to let us know what their annual household income is and how many people in the family are supported by that income. They don't have to provide any documentation supporting that unless it's requested. From there, they're going to move on to the responsibilities section of the application. Here, they're going to let us know if they do any sort of volunteer work, community service activities they've been involved in, and they're also going to let us know what their home responsibilities are. And for this group of students, we really want to know what those home responsibilities are. We know that a lot of these students don't have the ability to go out and volunteer or do community service the way some other students would have the ability to. We know that there's a lot of students that are working as translators for their parents and grandparents. They may be helping to take care of younger siblings, whether it be homework or taking care of them while their parents are working. So we really want to be able to take that into consideration when looking at their application. From there, they're going to move on to the essay portion, and there are 2 essays to the application. They are both a maximum of 750 words each. They're going to let us know what their educational and career goals are, and then they're also going to let us know what they've done to overcome adversity in their lives. And then from there, it's the supporting documents. The only supporting documents that are required in the application is a copy of their high school and/or community college transcripts, as well as their ACT and/or SAT scores. And just to give you a quick overview of how the selection works, ISTS, which is International Scholarship and Tuition Services, is an administration company that we work with that handles the online application for us. They will review all of the applications that have been submitted to make sure that they are complete and eligible. From there, ISTS will actually send them to the partner colleges, the top 2 choices, and then the schools then begin a review of the applications to see who they are able to accept. Once the partner colleges have made their selections, they return those to us. Then we go back through that, and we then begin to allocate the scholarships across the partner colleges to make sure that there's a robust cohort heading to each one, and they're awarded to the highest scoring applicants. And the scores that are taken into consideration are their grades, standardized test scores, if they've participated in any advanced courses, the responsibilities come into play, their volunteer work, community service, home responsibilities, and their essays. And then next slide. And this just kind of gives you just a quick little snapshot of what the main page of the application looks like. So again, we've provided the links there to each of the schools so that the students can begin to research them. And then each of the little tabs kind of up on the top are just our tabs where they'll go into the different sections of the application. Then the next page. All right, and so we're going to do one more quick, this is our final poll. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this. And which of the following documents are required for the opportunity application? And this one is a multiple choice. So do we require them to provide financial documents, their DACA authorization, ACT, SAT test scores, high school and/or community college transcripts? Right, looks like we might still have a couple of people voting. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out and show you the results. And that is right, we do require them to provide their high school and community college transcript as well as their ACT or SAT scores. We do not ask for them to provide their DACA information or authorization, as well as we do not require financial documentation. Right. So, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Gabby.
Thank you. All right, so one of the things that we wanted to share with you is how you can help. And so we wanted to stop and acknowledge every single one of you and say thank you. We have done surveys and we have talked to our scholars and we ask them, like, who is your biggest support system? And they usually tell us, my teacher, my counselor, my mentor. So just want to let you know that you mean a lot to the lives of these young people, and um, these young people having an ally, it's so crucial to their development. So how do you want, how you can get the word out? And there's different ways. And we've made it very easy for people who want to get the word out to do so. And one of the things that we've done is that we have an open source website where you can go and see and download all our flyers and all the marketing materials that we have. And so if you click on that link, and by the way, this presentation is going to be made available on our website, and we're also going to put it on our social media Facebook page so that you can share it with other people and you can have it and rewatch it, etc. Or even click on these links. So, and also because you signed up through GoToWebinar, you will get an email with the recording of it and this documentation. So this the flyer section, this, you can click on that, and you can also click on the blue flyer that is there, and it's going to take you directly to that. We also have the flyer in Spanish, and we're going to work on getting some of those flyers in other languages as well, but all of that you're going to be able to find on our website. The other thing is we have our social media tools. So we are both on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we are constantly putting up their videos and information and deadlines and just little, every other Friday we've been doing a video where we give tips. And last Friday, we not only talked about our scholarship program and what are some of the tips to kind of get a winning application, but also we talk about why people should consider college. We know that a lot of this population of people, they ask themselves, well, if my DACA is going to expire or I don't have DACA, how am I going to be able to work? We explain those things and we know that's reality, but at the same time, we know that once you get an education, no one can take it away from you. That degree, you can take it anywhere across, from a city, a state to another country. And the other thing too is that we know, right, that having a college education increases the likelihood of you getting a better paying job. So we talk about this stuff and we share that information with others. And we also hope that people are doing fairs and workshops and giving out the flyers. Underneath that, you see a butterfly that says Dreamers Welcome. And this has kind of become kind of the symbol for undocumented youth or immigrant youth. And the NEA commissioned this flyer from Fabiana Rodriguez. And this kind of symbol, when people see it, they know, right, that they're welcome and that the person that has this at the window or at their door, it's an ally, and it's somebody that, as an undocumented person who has not come out, is shy about it, that they can go in and talk to them. The other thing is doing applicant outreach. So we know already that we have close to 700 people that have started the application for the Opportunity Scholarship. And one of the things that we have heard from the applicants is that it's really hard for them sometimes to find a computer or a space to be able to submit. In the past, people have said, I've had trouble with my transcripts and stuff. So reaching out to the applicants and hosting an info session where you can help the applicants with the essay, it could be very beneficial. And so we go a little bit deeper in here. So one of the things that, as Elena was talking about, the Opportunity Scholarship is very unique in the sense that when you apply for our scholarship, you are also in essence applying for the university, because the university is going to review the application and they're going to choose, if they get to take that student or not. So having the student and helping them research their top 2 partner college choices is going to be key, because at the end of the day, if they choose, for example, Delaware State University as their #1 choice, but they really wanted to go to Eastern Connecticut, then, you know, that's going to be a little bit awkward, because Delaware is going to say, yes, I want this, and then the student's going to want to change. So making sure that they know the university that they want to go to, their top 2, is going to be key, because the institutions will use our application to choose which student is going to get admitted to their institution. The other thing too is assisting applicants in writing their essays. So both giving them one-on-one or via workshops is really important. And one of the things we have well, for the national, we have a selection committee, but for this is the institutions. And of course, right, like you want to present yourself to the best, most professional way, and having somebody read through your essays and nitpicking and, you know, making sure that the spelling and the grammar and all this stuff are really tight is going to be key and important for these students to have a good, strong application. The other thing too is helping applicants get and upload completed transcripts in the test scores. We get this a lot of the time, you know, do I have to submit my SAT or ACT scores? Yes. How do I do it? You have to upload it. So helping the student with that can also be very key in finishing and completing the application. And the last thing is reminding applicants of the deadline. So unfortunately, we do not accept any application whatsoever, no matter what the circumstances, that come in after the deadline. So you got to make sure to let folks know that they have to submit before the end of the deadline. And so Elena, can you, you know, share with us when is the deadline for the Opportunity Scholarship?
Sure, the Opportunity Scholarship deadline's on January 31st, so they've got just under 2 months to get it completed.
Yes, that's right. So on December 31st will be 30-day countdown. We'll be doing a countdown. We will be reminding the students, the applicants, that they have to submit before the deadline. But one of the things that we have found, and research has told us, that students during the holiday break is the prime sweet time for people to finish, excuse me, and complete the application. So encourage the students that you're working with to complete the application during the holiday break, or at least have it as finalized as possible, so that when they come back early January, you get to read their essays and you get to like fine tune it to just have it and get it submitted. All right, so now this is the fun part. This is the time that we get to hear you out. So on your screen, you're gonna get to see a little hand, and that hand is, you can raise it, and that would let us know that you have a question. But if you're shy or you're in a place where you cannot speak at this moment, you can also type in your questions in the question box. So we will start taking questions now. And let's see, so we have a question from Betsy, and Betsy says, can we get the file for the presentation for our notes? Yes, we will. After this presentation, it takes about a day to just do its thing. And once it does that, we will download this presentation, add it to our YouTube channel, and we will also share this link on our Facebook page, and we will put this presentation on our website. So you will have both the deck, the PowerPoint presentation, and the video that you can go back to and listen to or share with other people, other colleagues that you may have. Thank you so much, Betsy, for your question. All right, so do we have any other questions? And we'll give you a few minutes. And while we wait for those questions to come in, Elena, is there anything else you think we need to say or?
Let me see. One thing is just to kind of point out the reason we do ask for, and Gabby kind of alluded to it, is making sure that they are researching the partner colleges, because once they have been admitted and begin attending that partner college, they're not able to transfer to a different partner college. So they really need to make sure that they have done as much research as possible to make sure that they feel that the school will be a good fit for them.
Yes, that's very key and important. And we know that, students at this point of time, sometimes they don't necessarily know what degrees or what their career they want to be. But it's really important that they look at that as they're researching the schools, because there are some schools that have a stronger focus in, for example, engineering that another institution might not. So looking at that, and we know that this is a hard choice for a lot of young people. It's not just going out of state and going to a school, it's leaving their families behind. And Elena had talked about this, and this is why it's really important for those students to be as open and honest as possible when they're putting their application together. We know this population of students are usually the only ones in their household that have, for example, a driver's license. And therefore, they're the ones driving their parents to their jobs, driving their brothers and sisters to either soccer practice or driving them to school. So leaving home for them, it's a big choice, and we know that. But we want them to be able to make the best, most informed decision when they're doing that. So researching the institutions for many reasons, right? It's going to be key, from proximity to their home. One of the things that we have been talking to our students is some of the students from Georgia, for example, North Carolina, Alabama, are in Delaware and Eastern Connecticut and DC. And their number one complaint is how cold it is. So I am actually here in Miami, and it's about 60 something degrees, so probably like 69, 70 degrees, and I am freezing. And we know that that is not that cold, but we know that the students were likely, so talking to them about that, right? Understanding that there will be some changes and that moving out to these states. But one thing that we do want to stress is that these institutions love our students, and they're there guiding them all the way through. And like Elena said, they're part of a community, so they go in large cohorts. They're not going one at a time. As a matter of fact, I think majority of our institutions have an average of about 20 students. There's some that have a lot more, there's some that have less. But reality is that when they're going, they're living in the dorms. The scholarship does pay for not just the tuition and fees, but room and board. So it's a pretty good program. All right, so a question has come in, and let's see. So are there any conversations about adding Arizona to the list of lockout states? So Elena, we haven't had that conversation actually, because we've actually partnered with three very strong universities in Arizona. And so we are partnering with Arizona State University, which we know it's an amazing, incredible institution. And we also have two private institutions, Benedictine and Grand Canyon. So at this moment, Arizona actually has institutions where students don't have to go out of state. And the thing is that, for every one opportunity scholar, it's 2.5 national scholarships. So we really hope to find some homes in our program. And one thing that it's a little bit sad, but this is our last year of funding for the Opportunity Scholarship. So if you know anybody out there that might want to fund us, please let us know, because we are looking for funding to continue this program. But yes, this is the last year of our program. And Arizona is not on the list, even though, yes, they've become a lockout state in our terms, because we do have institutions that are helping. And if you know a little bit about Arizona State University, the Dr. Crow, who's the president, has just been an incredible ally for Dreamers, not just now, but even before, when they did Proposition 300 in 2008, that also shifted and made all the students that were paying in-state to pay out-of-state. But yeah, we have really strong partnerships there with those three institutions, and so there's actually a home that Arizona students can go to. All right, so I think we don't have any more questions. And I hope that that's a good sign, maybe. What do you think, Elena? We did a good job in explaining the Opportunity Scholarship.
I was gonna say, I hope so, the fact that there's not any questions. So
Yeah. Well, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can always call the customer service line of ISTS. ISTS, like Elena said, is our partner in this, and they manage our scholarship, and so they'll be able to answer any questions. But do please reach out to us if you need anything, and if you want us to do a presentation like this in your school system, or you want us to go in a little bit deeper, let us know. But please feel free to share this information with anyone that you would like, and share it as far as you can. We really hope that we are able to provide scholarships to your students. Make sure they apply before January 31st, because like Elena and I said, we unfortunately will not be able to accept any applications that come after the deadline. The application actually closes, right, Elena? So they wouldn't even be able to finish it.
correct. On January 31st at 11:59 p.m., regardless of time zone, for each time zone that they're in, the application will end up closing, and they will no longer have access to it. So they have to make sure that they have completed all of the required questions, provided answers for those, hit the submit button, as well as uploaded a copy of their transcript and test scores by the 31st.
Great. All right. Well, we are so grateful for every single one of you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing those applications from your students. Thank you. Hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.